In what was a must-win game for the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, it's always nice to see when they take care of business. Team, keep it clean. I'm here to share my post-game thoughts from the game that we all watched, and we loved it, especially those of y'all that got to see it in person, between the Baltimore Ravens and the LA Ravens or the Baltimore Chargers, whatever you want to call them, because there's so many old Ravens that's on that squad right now, both personnel and on the staff. But anyway, before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn the notifications on, but make sure you leave a like on the video, because we like how that game went, especially when the Baltimore Ravens came away with a win. Started off a bit rough. Had a lot of moments throughout that were very shaky, and it almost seemed like the Chargers, they were buying penalties from the refs. And it seemed like the refs were like, you know what? If you buy enough penalties from us, we'll give you some on a discounted price. Because the penalties were going crazy as usual. But speaking of discounts, speaking of Black Friday, speaking of nice deals, hit up Heart of the City Clothing for not only your Zay Flowers Human Joystick hoodie, they got an Ed Reed hoodie, they got a Charm City hoodie. All hoodies this week are $40. That's it. All of them are $40. And then on top of that, for their Revenge Season hoodie, that's only $20 this week. But then on top of that, if you use code Ingraven30, on top of the hoodies only being $40 this week, on top of the Revenge Season hoodie only being $20 this week, you get 30% off. If you use code Ingraven30, you get 30% off. So let them know that we sent you. The link is down below in the description. Now, to the game. Starting off with the offense. The offense started slow in this game. Lamar, he was sailing some passes. He was trying to go for them chunk plays a lot because he must have saw something in this Chargers secondary to where he was like, look, I'm about to exploit them boys, man. I know they got a weak secondary. Their defense is rated one of the best defenses in the league, but I see some stuff that I'm going to take advantage of. So he was throwing that ball all over the field, but that thing was sailing early on, and his numbers early in the game, they ain't look so pretty. But Lamar, he got it all cleaned up, and he finished with 16 for 22 for 177 yards and not one but two touchdowns. Let's talk about them touchdowns because he tried to hit bait for a touchdown early because it was a play where he came to the line of scrimmage and he checked out of it. He audibled the play. He changed the play. You could tell he did it. And whenever he does that, I always see it. It's always that it's a kill shot that he's going for. 9 times out of 10, when he checks out of it, he's going for a kill shot. But anyway, he checked out of the play, and then he threw it to Bateman. Great pass to Bateman, but Bateman got interfered with. It was a pass interference on, I forget number 7's name, but number 7 on the Chargers, he interfered with our number 7. And Bateman almost caught it, but he couldn't make the catch. But again, he was interfered with. So then on that same drive, so they were down at the 1. So what do? What else would you do? Give it to Derrick Henry. Why not? So Derrick Henry, boom, he gets it in for the touchdown. But what happens? Penalty. It was a flag. They said that they called it on Roger Rosengarten. I think it should have been on Charlie Kohler, but they said it was illegal formation, I believe. And that moved the Ravens back. So Ravens just doing typical Ravens stuff. And then Lamar just said, you know what? I got it. So Lamar ran it in for the touchdown. And he did his infamous run where he run, and just stop and let the defender go past him and then walk in the end zone. Touchdown. So it was beautiful. But then Lamar said, no, Bate, I ain't forget about you. And even in the post-game presser, he talked about how with Bateman, he wanted to give him another opportunity because he trusts his receivers. And he did just that because he saw, look, like Bateman, I know he could beat this guy. I know Bateman, if I give him a chance, he going to make it happen. He going to come down with it. And that's exactly what happened. Later on in the game, Lamar threw it up, and he saw Bateman, and Bateman made a very, very difficult catch, touchdown catch. And it was pass interference on that one too, but that one Bateman caught. So it was just beautiful to see. Love when Rashad Bateman gets involved in the game. It's nice. And then Lamar's other touchdown to Mark Andrews, man, they tried to take that one away. Because first Mark Andrews came down with it. He got both feet in. He got a knee down. He even got one of his cheeks in. And they still try to call it incomplete, but then they were like, hold up, wait, hey, let's have a conversation over here real quick. and they fixed it. And I'm so glad that they did, because, yeah, Mark Andrews deserved that one. Lamar deserved that one. And it was clear as day that it was a touchdown. So that was beautiful to see. In this game, Derrick Henry, he had 24 carries for 140 yards. Average 5.8 yards a carry. Now, this time, because last week, I know people were like, oh, Derrick Henry, he averaged such and such amount of yards per carry, but it was inflated by a big run that he got. That really changed everything, because Steelers were not letting Derrick Henry go off last week, like, at all. But in this game, these numbers are not inflated, because Derrick Henry, he was doing his thing this game. So he had 24 carries for 140 yards, average 5.8 yards a carry. Didn't get a touchdown because it got taken away by the penalty, but his impact was certainly felt, and they did not forget about Derrick Henry in this game. They did not forget about the run game in this game. Even Justice Hill had four carries for 55 yards. Obviously, 99% of that came on that 51-yard touchdown run that pretty much put the game away. So shout out to Justice Hill. Shout out to New Money Justice. Love seeing him do well. Love it. I know a lot of Ravens fans be like, oh, where's Keaton Mitchell? Where's Keaton Mitchell? But it's like, I get it, because we all remember Keaton Mitchell from last year. We're like, oh, yeah, look at it. But with Keaton Mitchell, it's like, it's tricky, and it's a great problem to have, in my opinion. When you have so many weapons, and you're like, man, how do I get this weapon involved? How do I get that one involved? It's a good problem to have, because that means that you have so many guys that can make plays happen for you. So that's a beautiful thing. I know the same thing was said tonight from some people with Isaiah Likely. They were like, man, why he didn't get any touches? Well, you saw what Mark Andrews was doing. It was enough, and you saw the run game working too. So, and John Harbaugh told us about this beginning of the season. He said, hey, it's going to be times when fans complain, people complain, say, why is this guy not going off? Why is this guy not getting numbers? But other guys are. And he said, if we're winning, hey. So Harbaugh tried to put us on early this season. But anyway, with Keaton Mitchell, it's like the way that Derrick Henry and Justice Hill been doing their thing this season, it's like it's been working so well. Yeah, you want Keaton Mitchell to get involved too, but you don't necessarily want to force it. You just want to, it just depends on the flow of the game. So Keaton Mitchell will get his shots. He definitely will. Obviously, they want him on the field at some point because they got him as a kick returner. But as a running back, he'll get some opportunities. He got a few carries when he first came back, but obviously we knew he wasn't going to be nothing crazy when he first came back. So we'll see how that goes. Our wide receivers. Wide receivers in this game. We talked about Rashad Bateman earlier. But Zay Flowers, he had a better game. He had 5 catches for 62 yards. Longest was 25 yards. And Zay Flowers, yak machine. Yards after the catch. So shout out to him. Mark Andrews, 5 catches for 44 yards. We talked about his touchdown. Rashad Bateman, 2 catches for 43 yards. Tylan Wallace, 1 catch for 15 yards. Tylan Wallace just always, whenever his number's called, he just shows up. Shows up to work, does his thing. Don't complain, don't make no noise. He just say, oh, I got it. And he always makes it happen. Charlie Cola had a catch for 6 yards. Justin Hill had 2 catches. Deontay Johnson, he had a target, but he got clipped up by the cornerback. Cornerback tripped him up, and he fell. So I know I saw somebody in the live stream when we were live streaming during the game. Somebody said, oh, Steelers fans were right. Deontay Johnson, he is always falling. But I get it. Like with Deontay Johnson, we'll see what happens. It ain't been working out so far, but I ain't tripping because the Ravens got him for super cheap. It's like a throwaway trade. Like they got him for super cheap with Tre'Davious White. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. They got him for super cheap as well, and he's certainly been working out. But Deontay Johnson, not so much so far. But Ravens in this game, the final score was 30-23, but it didn't feel like it was that close. It felt like Ravens in this game, they had control really throughout the game. Again, toward the end of the game, really throughout the game, there was a lot of penalties. But it was penalties that ended up making this go from 30-16 to 30-23. But yeah, it felt like Ravens they took care of business throughout. Special teams. Justin Tucker, when they called him out for a field goal, I said, "Ooh, boy, here we go. I'm worried." But Justin Tucker said, No, I got it. Trust me. And he got it. So shout out to that boy, JT. Jordan Stout, he was called upon a little bit. You know what? Let's go back. Actually, go back to the offense real quick. My apologies. The 4th down, where they went for it on 4th down from their own in their own territory. It was a very gutsy call. And shout out to John Harbaugh for making that call. Shout out to John Harbaugh for going for it because it worked. And it was a great call. And they didn't get cute. They didn't get pretty. They said, we running straight up with Derrick Henry. Boom. Got it. Then another shout out to John Harbaugh. When I know some Ravens fans were like, "Oh man, why are they going for 2?" It's when the Ravens, they scored a touchdown. They went up 7. I think it was 23-16. And they went for 2. And if they would have got the 2, it would have been a 2-score game. Because if they would have just kicked the extra point, it would have been an 8-point game. But if they got the 2, it would have been a 9-point game. So Chargers would have had to get the ball back twice. And the Ravens defense was playing pretty well. Ravens went for 2. They didn't get it. So then they just stayed up 7. I know a lot of Ravens fans were upset. They were like, man, why would they go for that? What a bad decision. Now, was the play call the best? No. But people are telling me that it hit Zay Flowers in the hands. And I didn't even see that. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's something. But anyway, it was the right call to make to go for 2. And throughout this year, there have been, especially early on in the year, I remember so many Ravens fans complaining. We even talked about it on here. Ravens need to really develop that killer instinct. So many Ravens fans complain that the Baltimore Ravens are way too conservative. When they go up in games, they just start being lax. They start just being super chill and just being super conservative and not really going for the kill shot. But what did the Baltimore Ravens do in this case? They tried to put it away. They tried to go up 2 scores. They were aggressive. They weren't being conservative at all. And then fans like, oh, why would they go for it? Why wouldn't they just kick the extra point? And it's like, really? But anyway, back to special teams. Justin Tucker did his thing. Yeah, the kicks look good. They weren't even close to the uprights at all, so that's a beautiful thing. Went right down the middle. Cameron Dicker on the other team, that boy was kicking from everywhere. I said, man, can you miss, please? And when I think about it, like looking at the game from his point of view, let me see how many kicks he made. Cause no, he was kicking all over. He made 3 field goals, so that's 9 points right there. And for the Chargers, for the longest, like they weren't getting into the end zone. Like Ravens were doing, and I mean, we might as well flip it to the defense now. The first drive, the Ravens, like, they were giving up everything. It was ugly. Justin Herbert was just converting everything. He played really good throughout this game. But the Ravens, they played a lot of bend, but not necessarily breaking. Again, the penalties, they'll break anybody though. But with Justin Herbert, on that first drive, drove the ball downfield with ease. But Ravens, they played good pass defense, good run defense, because they didn't give up no run touchdown early on in the game. They gave up the one at the very end when they called pass interference on. I think they called it on Jalen Armour-Davis in the end zone, so they put the ball at the 1. But the Chargers' only touchdown for the longest, it came from Justin Herbert running the ball, because Ravens were playing good pass defense on the goal line, and Justin Herbert said, oh, okay, there ain't nobody open. Let me run the ball for the touchdown. And he got it. Then it was just all field goals from there. All field goals. They scored a touchdown on opening drive, then it was field goals. Then it was field goals. Then it was field goals. So the Ravens defense, they had a good game tonight. There, again, the penalties, there were some penalties that were like, what? Really? And there were some penalties that were like definitely justified. But that's been Ravens' biggest issue, man. Biggest issue, the penalties. Penalties have been bad. So it is unfortunate. Now, and looking at Justin Herbert's numbers, 21 for 36, 218 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And there weren't even any almost interceptions. There was one where Jalen Armour-Davis was one-on-one with the receiver in the back of the end zone, and Jalen Armour-Davis hit it with one hand, but it wasn't even an almost interception. But that's one thing. Lamar and Justin Herbert, they said, we ain't turning this ball over tonight. Nope, we are not. And, like, neither one. Well, Lamar, there was one where Lamar, he should have ran it. It was on, I want to say, 2nd and goal or 3rd and goal. I think it was 2nd and goal, where Lamar, he dropped back to pass, and he got pressure. He scrambled to his left, and he saw Zay Flowers in the back of the end zone, but he has so much room. At the worst, he would have got stopped at the 2. At the worst. Could have been a touchdown, could have got stopped at the 1, but at the worst, he would have got stopped at the 2. But he ain't running. He tried to throw to Zay Flowers, and the defender jumped. He was right in front of it, just tipped it up, or knocked it out. So, but yeah, other than that, yeah, there weren't any almost interceptions, anything like that. But with Justin Herbert, when he faced pressure, when Ravens sent blitzes, a lot of times Justin Herbert would just step up and find an open man, boom, strike. And it was hurting the Ravens bad. But again, wasn't too bad because Chargers they weren't scoring touchdowns. They really were not. And again, if it wasn't for the penalties, this game would have been a lot worse for the Chargers. a lot worse. So Ravens defense, great job, man. I know the score says 23 points, but when you actually watch the game, you look at the context, Ravens defense did their thing. We saw Tre'Davious White getting some more snaps. We saw Brandon Stevens playing some good ball. Overall, we saw Nate Wiggins was getting picked on tonight. He was getting, that boy was getting picked on in this game for sure. He did have 2 nice breakups, though. He had a couple nice breakups, pass breakup. Maybe he had 3. But he was getting targeted a lot. Like Justin Herbert said, forget 21, I'm going at number 2. And this is a game where, hey, like it's gonna happen sometimes. Sometimes they gonna have your number, and it's up to you to respond. So it's an up and down game for Nate Wiggins overall. Kyle Hamilton, he was playing deep safety a lot. He really was. He played deep safety a lot. We did see him blitz a little bit, but that boy was dropped back. Like Ravens ain't playing no more. They ain't playing no games no more, man. And look, that's 2 games in a row. No passing touchdowns allowed. No passing touchdowns allowed. They did technically give up 2 rushing touchdowns tonight. One to Justin Herbert, but the other one was to Gus Edwards after that pass interference call. So Ravens hey, look, man. Shout out to Zach Orr, because he's adjusting. It took him a little while, but hey, he had to make them changes, make them switches and whatnot. Defense been doing their thing these past 2 weeks. So was last week a fluke? I don't think so, bro. But yeah, next week, next week oh my goodness, they got a challenge next week. But we'll worry about that when we get there. But pass rush, it's weird because Ravens defense, they got like I think 4 sacks. Yeah, they got 4 sacks. Adolfo Way got 1. Josh Tapar, he got 1? I didn't even realize that. But Kyle Vanoy got 1 and Brandon Stevens got 1. But even though the Ravens defense got 4 sacks, to me the pass rush didn't look good. It didn't look good to me. Like, so it was rough, man. I know Travis Jones, he's still hurt. He's been hurt for a long time, and it's impacting the Ravens defense bad. It's impacting their run defense. It's impacting their pass defense. This game, I think it would have been closer had J.K. Dobbins not got hurt. That's unfortunate. Hopefully, I think he'll be straight, but he ain't returned. He got hurt toward the end of the first half, and he didn't come back. And speaking about the end of the first half, that was another situation right there where there was a lot of back and forth amongst Ravens fans on there were 23 seconds left. So Ravens had scored. They kicked the ball off. Chargers had 23 seconds left. So Ravens, they played prevent defense, and they ended up giving up a field goal in 23 seconds. I did not necessarily have a problem with it because my thinking was just don't give up a touchdown, especially because Ravens, what made it scary, Ravens were playing prevent defense, and Ardarius Washington still got beat deep. He was backed up, and he still got beat deep. So good thing the ball was just a little too far, because that could have been really ugly. But that's what my thinking was like. I guess my thinking aligned with Zach Orr at that moment, because I'm like, look, just don't give up a touchdown. That's it. That's all I can ask for. Don't give up a touchdown. And I think Zach Orr, he recognized his defense's weaknesses throughout the first half of this game and was like, look, yeah, as long as we don't give up a touchdown, we'll be straight. We give up a field goal. We don't want to, but it is what it is. Just not giving up 6, and they didn't. So, again, the defense throughout this game, if you look at it, you watch it, you see all the context involved in this game, the defense played really good in my opinion. They played really good overall. Again, the pass rush wasn't even good today, in my opinion. But the defense still played good overall. They really, really held it down. They really did. So hats off to them. Let's just hope it continues. And the thing, Malik Harrison, got to give a big shout out to him. He even talked about it. He said, a lot of people doubted me going into this game. Yes, a lot of people certainly did. And I think with Malik Harrison, the reason why a lot of us were worried about Malik Harrison going into this game, because what we saw from him throughout this season, we've seen small sample sizes here and there. We haven't seen him consistently be on the field a lot, especially as much as he was tonight, because Roquan Smith was out. Roquan Smith, look, Harbaugh ain't lie. Harbaugh did say, look, like Roquan Smith, we ain't ruling him out. He got a chance to play. He ain't practiced all week. Zach Orr said, hey, Roquan Smith, he got a chance to play. He's trying everything he can do to play. And then right before the game, they said Roquan Smith went through pre-game workouts. He was doing everything he possibly could, but he obviously didn't give it a go. And it still worked out. That right there it shows how in sync and unified the Baltimore Ravens defense is right now. And that's big, because there were times even before with Roquan Smith when the defense was not unified at all. But that right there shows how cohesive they are right now. They're in tune right now. And that's big for this Baltimore Ravens team. They need that bad. All kinds of bad. So with them playing like this, and the offense wasn't even all that tonight. And they still did it. Derrick Henry was still really good. Justice Hill, Lamar Jackson. And again, them passes he was sailing early on, he was off early on, but he still ended up having a good night. So the offense wasn't even rolling like that. But it seemed like the defense is really coming around now. So, hey, they're really coming around now. Hey, don't want to peak too early. Looks like they might be getting at the right time. Hey, next week, get some Eagles. That's going to be a tough task. Real tough task. So we're really going to see what these Baltimore Ravens are made of, because Eagles, they coming in hot. They are coming in hot. But I think the Chargers were too. I think the Chargers won like 4 or 5 games in a row, something like that. But the Chargers, they were doing their thing. Respectable team. But Harbaugh said, hey, little bro, yeah, you're going to stay that tonight. So shout out to the Baltimore Ravens for getting the job done. Always nice when the Baltimore Ravens win. So team, keep it clean. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn the notifications on. Leave a like on the video. And we got plenty to talk about this week in regards to our Baltimore Ravens. But it's always much nicer, more fun conversations when they're coming off of win instead of that other thing that we don't even want to mention, because we don't even want Ravens associated or affiliated with that at all anymore. I love you. I appreciate you. And we out.